In this video, I want to cover a topic of something that's really kind of taken over the real estate industry in the past decade, and that is home staging. So I'm going to break down a little bit about home staging, why I think it's become so popular, who pays for it, how much does it actually cost, and the most important, does it actually work?
The real estate expert, Tom Story.
Tom Story with Royal LePage.
Tom, good to have you in this afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
So first of all, I want to thank you for being here and watching this video. And just before I get into it, if you like this type of real estate content, if you could hit that like button on the video and subscribe, that really helps out the channel. If you go back online right now and look at sold listings, real estate listings from 8 to 10 years ago or a little bit after that, you look at all the pictures, no properties were really professionally staged. Some people had nice furniture, but staging just wasn't the norm. But fast forward to today, if you want to offer high quality real estate services in a lot of the biggest markets in Canada and North America, you better have some type of staging included in your selling packages. Staging has become extremely popular in the past decade, especially in the real estate space. And it is big business. There are a lot of great staging companies out there, a lot of furniture rental companies that are making a killing out there right now because everybody wants their property when they list it to look just like what they watched on HGTV. And I think that's what it all comes down to, right? I think we've been kind of like inundated with all this type of programming and TV and these shows on Netflix now and everything where we see the before and after, you see the transition. And it's satisfying seeing what a space was and what it potentially could be. And I think because of that, now our brains are wired, at least a lot of the new buyers coming into the market are wired to want to see the space at its best ability. And when they build brand new homes, we've always seen this, right? They've had the show homes, but then the other ones were vacant. But right now, if you're listing a property in any big market, you're probably going to want to stage it in some capacity. Another question people have a lot about staging is who actually pays for it when you're listing a property. Now, in our team, we cover the cost of staging, but there's basically a few ways that you can do it. Some agents will just outright say, we cover the cost and it's included in the contract. There are some agents that will ask the seller to pay for the cost of staging. And then there are some agents that will have the seller pay for it up front, but then when the property is sold, the staging cost is then taken away from the commission, so they actually technically pay for it at the end of the day. So those are kind of the three options that I see in the industry. Most staging companies, when you rent the furniture from them, give you contracts between 30 and 60 days, depending on the company. So if a property hasn't sold in that amount of time, you can re-up, but you have to pay an additional fee to keep the furniture in your property for longer than the initial contract. Now, in hot markets where things sell quickly, it's never really an issue, but in markets when things are taking a long time to sell, that's when you see agents maybe decreasing the properties that they are staging because financially it just no longer makes sense because it's costing so much money, and no matter what, the stager is getting paid, but the realtor isn't unless the property actually sells. Okay, so we've talked about who could potentially pay for it, what the models are, but now let's break down what it could actually cost. Yeah, because it's not cheap. And full transparency, staging, depending on what company you use, and there's lots out there, and obviously the price ranges and quality will differ between them. But to get a really good stager to come in and stage a vacant, let's say 2-bedroom condo, you're looking at $4,500 plus in the Toronto market, $5,000 depending on the property. If it's already got some furniture in it, it could be a little bit less than that. If we're talking about a big house, like a really big luxury house, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, like it is not cheap. But the reality is that a lot of agents will do it, or sellers will pay for it themselves sometimes because of the outcome it can give you. What's the ROI on this investment that you're making on the staging going into your house? And then we get to the final point is, does it actually work? And I think staging isn't the entire puzzle, but it is a fairly large piece of the puzzle when selling a property, because the reality is that buyers start online and they expect things to look good. They expect it to have nice lighting, minimal furniture, really well laid out, because staging isn't how you live in your property. It's just how to make it as big and bright, as beautiful as it can be during the time that it's for sale. The National Association of Realtors, NAR, they came out with a stat a few years ago that said staged properties can sell 6% higher than properties that are not staged. And we've seen it in our own business. Our properties have to meet a certain criteria and standard for us to put them out there on the market because we're really proud of the work that we do. And we see it time and time again where our team in 2021 is outpacing the market by about 5% in average sale price. And I think staging plays a big part in that. Not every property needs to be staged. Some people already have awesome furniture and it's laid out perfectly. Some houses that need a full gut job shouldn't be staged because it wouldn't make sense putting brand new furniture into an old space. But it does make a really big difference. And if you're considering selling your property at some point, anytime in the future, really, considering staging and really good quality staging will be a huge difference. One last thing I want to mention is there is virtual staging, which has gotten so much better than it used to be, but nothing is the same as real furniture. And if you can virtually stage a property, that's great. People might see it online and think, oh, this is the potential it has, but then they walk in and they're disappointed because they're walking into an empty space. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, as always, just throw them below, or you can go to my website, storyteam.ca, and you can go to the contact page and you can book a buyer consultation, a seller consultation, or just a call with me to chat about real estate, because I always love doing that. Have an amazing day, and remember, home is where your story begins.